Want to learn more about your true nature? Check out the many interviews and short videos produced by our friends at ispirit.us. Like their page at facebook.com/ispirit.dotus and browse through their many posts and be inspired by the wonderful and positive messages about life that they share with their community. If you would like to study the works of Spiritism and delve deeper into this philosophy that will be guaranteed to enrich your life by teaching you about the greater life, check out ediseiofamerica.com. At ediseiofamerica.com you can find all of the seminal works of Spiritism written and compiled by Allan Kardec, translated from its original French to English, as well as other Spiritist works that serve to add to the immaterial treasure that is the Spiritist philosophy and doctrine. As one of our subscribers and followers, be sure to use promo code ispirit_love to get 10% off from your next purchase and continue to support this beautiful work of dissemination. ispirit_love to get 10% off from your next purchase. Thank you.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another one of our videos. Last time we had begun going over the book, What is Spiritism? We talked about the first section of Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is entitled Elementary Notions of Spiritism. The section we had reviewed briefly was entitled Preliminary Remarks. Now we're going to move forward to the next section in this chapter entitled Concerning Spirits. It begins with item number 7. Item 7 reads, Spirits are not, as often imagined, separate beings within creation. They are souls of those who used to live on the earth or on other worlds, stripped of their corporeal envelope. So here we have the universality of the Spiritist doctrine, not one that adheres to the conventions of earth, but one that embraces the cosmos, the fact that every one of the planets, the infinite number of worlds out there in the infinite creation, has its own inhabitants, beings like us, who incarnate in that specific school or station of life to continue forward in an incessant evolution, and thus they find themselves in a similar situation as the one that we have here on Earth, whether in a state that is more primitive to ours or more advanced to our current state. It does not matter, or even equal to our state. They are still the same as we are. They are the essence that came from the divine creator, from the supreme intelligence. If we refer back to question number 1 of the Spirit's book, who is God, or excuse me, what is God, which is an expert way of asking the question, because it removes the anthropomorphic idea from this entity and gives it this ever-present quality that permeates throughout the entirety of creation. So what is God? And the answer that the Spirits give to Allan Kardec in the book, in the Spirit's book, is that God is a supreme intelligence, first cause of all things. So yes, we are all part of this creation. We are the intelligent principles of this greater supreme intelligence. So we are all over creation, not just on the earth. Whoever believes in the existence of the soul after the death of the body must therefore also believe in the existence of spirits. To deny spirits is to deny the soul. Well, clearly, if the soul is part of who we are, and the spirit is as well, the terms may be used interchangeably because for most of us it doesn't have much of a difference, and we can't focus too much on the words because, as Paul said in his letter to the Corinthians, for the letter kills it, but the spirit gives it life. So we have to actually pay attention to the content of the words, the spirit behind the words, no pun intended here, but what it actually means. If we just look at the surface, the superficial nature of the text, we get lost because we try to interpret things superficially. We're basically swimming in the surface of an ocean, missing the greatness that is found, the wealth that is found in the depth of this ocean of information that is Spiritism. So we can't just focus on the terms. A lot of people get stuck on the difference between soul and spirit. It does not matter. However you want to call it, however you want to label it, as long as we understand the concept that we are immortal beings, that we are inhabiting a temporary corporeal envelope in this existence, and that we discard it once we depart from here, but we continue onwards. The spirit that we are continues onward. The personality that we have, all the knowledge and all the faculties and talents that we've accumulated from the past existences that we've lived out, come with us, and we take that with us onto our next existence and onto our next level of progress, and etc. So we are spirits. We are souls as well. The soul being, by Allan Kardec's definition, the spirit itself. The spirit being the compound being that encompasses the soul and the perispirit, which we briefly touched upon in earlier videos that we'll get more in depth with later on, and the human being, which is the three-part being that is composed of the physical body, the perispirit, and the soul. Therefore, soul, the intelligent principle, spirit, the intelligent principle, and the perispirit, human being, the soul, the intelligent principle, the perispirit, and the human body, the corporeal envelope. Item number 8 reads, generally speaking, people have a mistaken idea about the makeup of spirits. They are not, as some believe, vague and indefinite beings, nor are they flames or ghosts like in the tales about souls from another world. They are beings like we are, with a body like ours, but fluidic and invisible in its normal state. Again, the term fluidic is just to define it, so we have an idea of what it is. Let's not get stuck on the terminology and on the words. We have to remember that these books were written by the mind of a scientist, but even so, they were written in the 19th century, in the mid-19th century, mid to late 19th century, so the terms are going to differ a little bit. But we can still kind of understand the concept of a fluidic being. So in essence, it's saying here that they're not these flames or these invisible beings or ghosts like it's usually explained. No, they are beings like we are. They have a shape, a form. They have a body, the paraspiritual body. But because it is a rarefied element, a rarefied type of energy that is quintessentialized, we are not able to see it with our gross and rudimentary faculties, the vision that we have that is limited in the body that we have, so we're not able to detect it. So they do exist, they have a form, but unfortunately it's been vulgarized to the term ghost or flame or apparition or something like this, but in essence that's not what it is, as it's been explained here in item number 8. They are beings like we are, with a body like ours, but fluidic and invisible in its normal state. Number 9 says, while the soul is united to the body during life, it possesses a twofold envelope, as I had explained earlier. One heavy, coarse, and destructible, which is the body. Obviously, the molecules of the body, as we age, they disintegrate, the cells age and die, and the body is eventually reabsorbed into the soil, into the material that composes this earth, to be perhaps recycled later on towards something else. Because as Antoine Lavoisier already said, dans la nature, rien ne se crée, rien ne se perd, tout change. In other words, in nature, nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything transforms or changes. So nothing in nature is lost. God in his infinite wisdom, the supreme intelligence in its supreme intelligence, is never going to let anything go to waste. Everything is utilized, everything is used, every corner, every place. Even though we may think it's empty, it's not. It's filled with something. Something that perhaps we can't see it, we can't sense it, but it's there. It has a purpose. Nothing is without purpose. And then we to proceed with our reading, in number 9, we had talked about the twofold envelope. So the body is coarse and destructible, and then the other one is fluidic, light and indestructible, called the perispirit, which I had also talked about earlier. Item number 10 says, thus, in the human being, there are 3 essential components. 1, the soul or spirit, which is the intelligent principle that harbors the thought. That's the essential being, the transcendental being that continues onwards, the immortal being that we are. It harbors the thought, will, and moral senses, or moral sense, excuse me. Number 2, the body, which is the material envelope, or the envelope that is composed of the lowest the energy that is in the lowest frequency. We could say it like that as well if you want to apply it to quantum physics and that type of terminology. So the body, which is the material envelope that enables the spirit to relate to the exterior world. So the body is more or less the diving suit in the ocean of life that allows us to interact with the different creatures or different objects in this existence. So imagine that we had to dive into an ocean, and to be able to dive into this ocean, we have to wear a suit that is heavy, that drags us down, that weighs upon us, that is a burden, that limits our senses, because if anyone has seen a video of someone scuba diving, the masks will limit the vision that we have, the field of vision. And this is exactly what happens to the spirit. The spirit limits itself in all of its faculties. The hearing, the seeing, everything else is limited. And it is done through the regular conventional channels that we have. You will listen through the ears, we see through the eyes, we smell through the nose, we talk through the mouth. When in reality, when the soul that we are, or the spirit, is liberated from the body, we no longer have these restrictions, these limitations. We remove that diving suit, and we are able to see with everything, hear with everything, and we don't need to verbalize. We simply talk telepathically. So yes, we are restricted when we are incarnated. And the material body allows us to interact with nature, specifically here on Earth in the stage which we find ourselves. And third, the perispirit, which is the fluidic, light, imponderable envelope that serves as a connection and intermediary between the spirit and the body. And if you look at item 94 of the Spirit's book, we find that the perispirit is made up of the material that is found in each world. In other words, if we are to incarnate in a specific planet, the perispirit is made up of the material that is found in that particular planet. In order for the soul itself to be able to somehow form that physical body based upon the materials it collected from that world, that will form that perispiritual body that will be able to connect itself to the physical and dense environment in which it will incarnate. So in essence, we can say that the spirit gets into the diving suit, but in order to operate the diving suit, it needs another agent, a connection. So we say that perhaps the perispirit would be the cable that allows the oxygen to come into the diving suit, so that the diver will not run out of breath and not be able to work the mechanisms of the diving suit. It is a rudimentary explanation, kind of crude, but I think it gets the point across. We will dive deeper into the subject of the perispirit later on. Maybe I'll make a separate video, but alas, I hope this made sense to you. Item 11. When the outer envelope is spent and can no longer function, it succumbs and the spirit rids itself of it, like the fruit rids itself of its husk, the tree of its bark, the snake of its skin. In other words, as if it were taking off an old and useless garment. This is what is called death. So there you have it. Death is nothing more than a transition. It is us finally finishing this dive that we embarked on, and we are lifted back, hoisted back up towards the surface of this dense ocean of life, finally being able to remove this thick diving suit that we put on, disconnecting from that oxygen tank, and now we're liberated, and finally we can see and breathe the beauty of the lightness of the true reality which we inhabit, because the illusion is this life. The reality is the greater life. So that's what it's all about. And this is the first portion of the second section, and we'll continue onwards in our next video. I hope you enjoyed this. And as always, leave your comments or feedback if you'd like to, and let us know how we're doing. And I'll see you all next time, and may God bless each and every one of you. And as always, may Jesus guide all of you in your footsteps. Thank you so much.